This video is to demonstrate how to create a portrait in Photoshop like the artist Andy Warhol was famous for, like this portrait of Marilyn Monroe. So what we're going to do is open up a photo of ourselves into Photoshop. If you notice in Andy Warhol's portrait, the background is blank. Or relatively simple. So for your portrait, make sure you have a nice clean background. So when we go into Photoshop, I'm going to open photo of myself, and you'll notice that the background is blank and clear. So that's what we want. So now that I have this photo open, I am going to open up a blank document in Photoshop as well, just by going to File, New. And then I'm going to change this to inches. And my width is going to be 4 inches. My height is going to be 4 inches. So it'll be a perfect square. And my resolution, I'm going to do 300. And now I have that blank document. Up here at the top, I have 2 tabs, just like an internet browser would have. So I can click back to my picture and back to this blank document. So we're going to have to do that a couple times. Another thing that I want to make sure I have set up is these rulers that go along the edge of the screen. Mine are already turned on. If you do not see rulers on yours, you need to turn them on. And the way you do that is at the very top, View, and then Rulers, and that turns on those rulers. And we will be needing those, so make sure you have those on. Now I'm going to go back to my original photo, and I want to make this photo the same size as, actually I'm going to make it smaller. This is 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to make my image 2 inches by 2 inches. So the way I'm going to do that is click on the crop tool, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth tool down in the toolbox. And then once I click on that, up here in the tool option bar, I want to click on the drop down and make sure I have width by height by resolution selected. In the first box, I'm going to put a 2. In the next box, I'm going to put a 2. The next box, I'm going to put my resolution, which is 300. Oops, not 3000. And then I could move this around. I can make it smaller. So it's just zoomed in on me. But because I already put in that 300, it will keep it at those specs as I am making it bigger and smaller here on the screen. And then I can just hit the check mark, and now there is my photo. And you'll notice it got super small. To make it just bigger on the screen again, if you hit the command button, and while you're holding that down, the plus button. So command will be down kind of by your space bar, plus will be up by the backspace or delete button, just so that then I can actually see it. So now this is 2 inches by 2 inches, 300 resolution. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to turn this photo black and white. So I'll do that by just going to Image Adjustments, and then black and white. And then I can mess with it here, so if I want to kind of change the way it looks, I can do that. Changing what colors in the photo, in the original photo, will be lighter or darker. Alright, so once I'm happy with that, I'll go ahead and hit OK. And then the next thing I'm going to do is a tool called Posterize. So if I go into Image again and then Adjustments again, this time I am looking for Posterize. And I am going to choose somewhere between, so you can see if I go all the way down to 2, it makes it so there's just white and black values in my photo. If I go all the way up to the top, it just looks like a normal black and white photo. So I want to be somewhere in the 4 to 6 range. So I'll do maybe 4. Okay. And then you'll notice down here in the bottom right hand corner in the layers palette, I only have one version of that layer right now, and I want 4 copies of it. So keyboard shortcut to that is, while I'm highlighted on this layer, just Command J. And you see that just gave me another layer. So if I hit it again, Command J, now I have another one. I can hit it again, Command J, now I have another one. I'll do one more, Command J. Now I have 4 copies of that photo. And then I'm just going to deal with one of them at a time. So if I poke each layer in the eyeball, it will turn it off, so that then I can just be dealing with layer 1 right now because all the other eyeballs are off. I can ignore the background layer. But you'll notice right now that I'm highlighted on this layer 1 copy 3, but the eyeball is turned on layer 1. So I need to make sure I can just click over here on layer 1. So now I'm highlighted and the eyeball is turned on. Next step, I am going to jump back to our blank document just for a second to get a couple things set up on there so that when we are ready for it, we can do that. So reason I wanted my rulers on is to create some guidelines, and you'll see why later, why these guidelines are going to be super helpful. So the way I'm going to create a guideline is on this ruler that's going across the top of the screen. If I just click anywhere in this ruler, but I have to make sure I'm actually in the ruler. If I'm not quite on the ruler, it won't work. So in the ruler, I'm going to just click, and while I am still holding, start dragging down, and you'll see that it's bringing this line down with me, and I want to go to 2. Then I let go, and it drops that blue guideline. These guidelines don't actually show up, like if you were to print this photo or once you save it and turn it in, it won't show up, but they're just there to kind of help us get everything laid out nicely. So I'm going to do the same thing on this left-hand side ruler. So I can just click, while I'm still clicking, drag to the 2 as well. So now I've divided this 4x4 canvas into 2-inch by 2-inch squares. And you'll notice that's the same dimension that I made my portrait earlier. So that's why I did it, so that I can put one version of my photo here, one over here in this corner, in this corner, in this corner. I'll show you real quick. If you're not quite clicked on the, oops, I still had the crop tool, so that's why that happened. So I'm just going to close out of that. I'm going to go to the move tool. So if you aren't quite on the ruler, when you click and drag, this little error will pop up. That's because you didn't quite catch the ruler. You need to be further into the ruler, and then you have it. If you accidentally do what I just did and now you have an extra ruler, you just click and drag it all the way off the edge of the screen and then let go. It will get rid of that ruler. Alrighty, so now I'm going to come back to this, and here's the fun part where I get to add color to this. So I'm going to just verify that I have the eyeball checked on layer 1 and that I'm highlighted on layer 1, and then I am going to go up to the top menu bar and click on select, and then color range. And then I have this little eyedropper, and this window pulls up. So with the eyedropper on my actual screen, I'm going to choose which color I'm going to change first. So I think I'm going to do my background. So if I click on that, you'll see over here, I'm going to turn the fuzziness down so that what is in this window, whatever is white in this window is what it's selecting, and what is black is what it's not selecting. So turn it down so that the white is just what that one color is that you chose. And I hit OK, and you'll notice these little marching ants around everything in the photo that was that white color. So then I can go into Edit and Fill. Once this window pulls up, I'm going to click on this first drop down that is Contents, and I'm going to click on Color, and then I can click any color in the world. So maybe I'll do a fun turquoise color. Make sure this is at 100% opacity. Then I hit OK. So you can see it put that turquoise color in everywhere that was white. So then I'm going to go to Select, Deselect, and then I'm going to go back to Select, in color range again, and now I'm going to choose a different part of the photo. So I'm going to click maybe on that part. So again, in this preview, you'll see everything that is white in this preview is what it's going to select. So it's all that lightest gray color is what it's going to select. Hit OK. I can see the marching ants around that. And then I'm going to go back into Edit and Fill. Then I'll click on this drop down for color again, and then click color so that it pulls this window up. And then I'm going to choose a different color. So maybe for this one, I'm going to choose a green. And I hit OK. And you can see there it filled all of that light gray in, and now it's a green. Go to Select, Deselect, and then go back into Select, Color Range. So you'll notice now that we've done this a couple times, it's the same steps over and over again. So now I'm going to click on this gray, and then you can see what part it's going to be selecting. Hit OK, go back into Edit, Fill, Color, and maybe I'll do something like that yellow. Select, deselect, and now you can see that it is kind of looking like Andy Warhol's portrait, kind of fun, crazy, bold colors. And that's the idea of this. I'm going to keep the black in this one because I kind of like how that looks. So now what I'm going to do is I can just click down here on layer 1, and I'm going to click and drag. So I'm dragging this all the way up. I'm going to hover over the tab that says Untitled One until it opens up the blank canvas we have, and then I'm going to let go of it. And you can see that it didn't quite go where I wanted to, so I'm just going to make sure I have the Move tool selected. Then I'm going to move it into place. And now I'm going to click back on this tab. I'm going to uncheck that eyeball on that layer. I'm going to check the eyeball on the next layer. And then I'm also going to click on the next layer. The reason I'm doing that is so that this is why I made all those extra copies, so that now I can just hop onto the next and do a different set of colors, like you see here, that he has different colors in each of them. So, same process, select, color range, I'll choose one of the colors, I'll fill it. And one thing you'll notice is when I go to edit fill, these icons over here on the right hand side, that is telling you what the keyboard shortcut is. So an assignment like this where it's kind of the same steps over and over again, those keyboard shortcuts can save you quite a bit of time, so pay attention to those. So Shift F5 is my keyboard shortcut for fill, so I'm going to start using that here. But so color again, I'll choose a different color. I hit OK. And same thing, there is a keyboard shortcut for deselecting. It is Command D, so I'm going to start using that as well. There's not one for getting the color range, so I'm going to have to keep clicking on that. So select color range, then I'll do that Command Shift F5. Maybe. Oops. Fill. Maybe I'll do a fun red, reddish orange color. Oops. What happened? Oh, that was weird. Back into select, color range, do this last one, the gray, Shift F5. There we go. Color. I'll do that. Command D to deselect. That one looks super creepy. I'm going to click on that layer. Bring it over. Drop it into place. Make sure I have the move tool. And put it wherever I want. Maybe I'll put it there. So then I'm going to do that same thing for the other two squares. So I'll come back to here, click the eyeball, click on the next layer's eyeball, click on that layer, and then I'll do that same process so that then I can have 4 different versions of myself in weird, crazy colors. And that is how you make an Andy Warhol style portrait.